Whenever I'm making one of these videos about something in the news, I try and read multiple sources to get a more rounded view of the story. And for me that's important because as more and more of us get our news from articles posted on social media, it's worth remembering that the algorithms which tailor adverts to each of us also feed us with news stories, and we're all guilty of confirmation bias inasmuch as if we read something which agrees with our worldview, we will seek out other people who also agree with that worldview and disregard any opinion which doesn't. So, to anyone still awake, let's get started. The casting of the actress who will play the lead role in the upcoming film Cleopatra has caused an absolute shitstorm among the media. So first up, how was it reported on Al Jazeera? And it's worth mentioning that I, like many people, first heard of this news organisation shortly after 9/11, when they were the preferred contact for Osama bin Laden, the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. In my opinion, and that's all it is, just an opinion, Al Jazeera tend to report the news in not so much a pro-Islamic way, but an anti-Israeli, anti-Hindu, anti-Western manner. And they reported that there was widespread outrage at the decision to cast a white actress as Cleopatra. Among their sources was a comment saying it was disgusting that the role hadn't gone to an Arabic or African actress, or at least someone darker than a paper bag. Another asked which Hollywood dumbass had cast, and I quote, such a plain-looking actress, adding that the lady herself wasn't satisfied with stealing land from the Arabs, she's now stealing film roles from them as well. And another saying that she is not just a Zionist warmonger and coloniser, but she's also a terrible actress. So emotions are running high. So news companies on the other side of this argument responded. From the UK we have the Daily Mail and the Blaze from the United States of America. The Mail is staunchly conservative and right-wing, with a clear anti-immigration stance, and it's been accused on more than one occasion of racism and Islamophobia. And the Blaze is much of the same, albeit in a more American fashion. To clarify what I mean, at the halfway point of a rugby match, the players have half-time oranges, whereas at the halfway point of an American football game, there's a display by cheerleaders, Jennifer Lopez, and a flyby by the US Navy. That's the difference in approach from the two news organisations. They hit back, saying that those who are offended with the casting choice are woke snowflakes, overly sensitive, and even racist. So who is the actress playing the Queen of Egypt? Well, it's Gal Gadot. I'd like to pause just for a moment because, as I said earlier, someone on Al Jazeera said that Gal is plain looking. What part of the world is Wonder Woman average? Because if we look at this image, I've seen that film. I cannot remember the title, what it was about, or who else was in it, but I remember that bit. So now we get to the real issue. Gal Gadot is Israeli, and I would like to summarise the ongoing problems and conflicts between Israel and the Arab world, but I've only got 3 hours battery left on this phone. Suffice to say that both sides have accused the others of committing atrocities, and to be fair, both have a valid point of view. Once again, that's just my opinion, and clearly I'm not a political analyst. So when we scratch the surface and get to the subtext, for me it feels like Al Jazeera aren't so much bothered about a white actress playing Cleopatra. They're doing everything they can except explicitly saying they don't want a Jewish actress in the role. And then the right-wing media are stopping just short of saying that Al Jazeera are a bunch of towelheads and camel jockeys. And whilst these media outlets were carefully mudslinging, all-out war erupted on Twitter. And then something very beautiful happened, because prominent historians and Egyptologists, people who know what they're talking about, waded into the argument and in effect told everyone to shut the fuck up. It transpires that amid all the screaming and name-calling, if one is looking for an accurate representation of Queen Cleopatra VII, then this role shouldn't be played by an Israeli, or an Egyptian, or someone from the Middle East, or even from Africa. Because Cleopatra was Greek. And if I was a journalist on either side of this story, I'd be feeling a bit of a tit right now. Cleopatra's family came from Alexandria, where it's not uncommon for people to have pale skin, blue eyes, and reddish blonde hair. Although it's more common for them to have an olive complexion, dark hair, and brown eyes. Much like Gal Gadot. And is it just me that doesn't expect this movie to be a documentary? It makes sense to cast Gal Gadot because she is one of the most bankable and, to be blunt, wankable ladies in Hollywood. Put her name on the poster and if the cinemas ever reopen, people will flood to go and see it. Whereas, if you cast some unknown Greek lass, Cleopatra starring Jemima Papadopoulos, no one will bother. So I guess what I'm getting at is that living in this increasingly polarised society with amplified noise coming from the far left and the far right, it's only in the middle where you can find some sort of truth. Fuck me, that was philosophical. Anyway, Gal Gadot, if she played her cards right, she could shag me. Thanks for watching.